Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Burn City Sports Podcast. Coming at you live. I'm your host, Franklin Miller, joined by Rowan Donaghy, Christopher Denson, and Jacob Harden. Fellas, how are we doing today? It's game 3 of the Phoenix Suns series. How are you all feeling?
Whoo! A lot more confident now.
A lot more confident now.
But Chris said, I ain't worried.
I'm yeah, I'm not worried. I told y'all I wasn't worried, so
That was before the big news of Kawhi being
I
out.
already knew.
That
I
was-
wasn't worried.
Hey, that was before the big news of Kawhi being out, which we'll discuss a little later in the show. But first, let's get going to some Cardinals updates. I know they're going to reveal the new uniforms later today at around 6:30, which is an hour, which should be really exciting news of what's been a really crazy offseason for them. But speaking of, the draft is coming up next Thursday around this time, and the Cardinals got the third overall pick. Don't know if they're going to trade down. Don't know if they're going to just stay pat and pick the second best defensive player available, since now Houston may pick the best defensive player available with all these rumors going around now in draft season. But I'll go ahead and get started with Jacob, our Cardinals guy and insider. But what's your thoughts on the upcoming draft next week? What do you think the Cardinals are going to do with that pick, or who they're going to take?
I wouldn't be shocked if they traded down. They are making. I mean, they just signed Jeff Driscoll. I can't remember what exactly it was, but someone tweeted something along the lines of their starting quarterback records. You have David Blow, who's 0-9 in his quarterback career, something like that. And they're 2 through 4 quarterbacks have like a combined record. The fact check me on this I want to say it was 2-15. And what they're doing this offseason, absolutely, it makes no sense. I can't tell if they're trying to rebuild because they're signing guys who have been in the league for 7-8 years. You don't do that during a rebuild. They're signing a whole bunch of backup kind of no-name players. So, but with Buda Baker and I think DeAndre Hopkins pretty much already out the door, I could see them trading down and really just trying to, I don't know, spice things up, really just make a massive move that I don't think people will like.
Yeah, no, 100%. I could kind of even go bat on that as well. Like when it comes to like the draft, anything's plausible. I definitely think that with all these rumors I'm hearing about CJ Stroud, at least, I don't know or see anybody kind of trading up with the Cardinals now to go grab him. And I also think now with Houston wanting to draft the best defensive player available, I definitely see teams sort of maybe laying back and kind of waiting for these quarterbacks to drop. So I can see the Cardinals taking one of either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, and kind of just go from there. I could also see the Cardinals just absolutely creating chaos and drafting a corner that early, but who knows? I really don't think
do.
That's something they would do.
I could see them throwing DeAndre Hopkins in the mix, though. If they were to trade away their third overall and just throw DeAndre Hopkins in there, Hopkins has made it clear that he doesn't want to be in Arizona. And why would you want to be in Arizona right now? Especially with Buda Baker gone, this team's a train wreck. And they can maybe even throw Buda Baker in something for your third overall. And I mean, I don't know who they would trade for, but I could see them doing it.
Yeah, definitely a rebuilding situation that's looking like it's on the horizon for the Cardinals, especially with, like you said, DeAndre Hopkins, Buda Baker wanting out. Yeah, it's really tough as a Cardinals fan right now. And then you have also the news of like stuff going on with the owner and stuff like that. Not looking too great being a Cardinals fan, especially after you just released Cliff Kingsbury and you're thinking, okay, now we got a fresh start, but now it's looking like it's getting 10 times worse before it gets better. But I don't know, Chris, what's your thoughts on like everything Cardinals? Like, who do you think they're gonna draft next week and the overall spectrum of the team?
I mean, it's kind of like Jacob said. I mean, you don't want to say it, but it's almost like they don't care. Like, you don't get that sense of urgency. You don't get that sense of, strike. You know, it's kind of while the iron's hot and you have this high draft pick, like you just said, you let go of Kingsbury and we're all sitting around like it's about to be a new era ushered in. And then you look, month and a half down the line and you're like, how the heck did we even get here? Like, DeAndre Hopkins, kind of, but Buda Baker, that was left field almost. So, like you said, and it's like they're signing like quarterbacks that at this point I would have been fine with them keeping McSorley at this point. I mean, if you're gonna just make pointless moves, you're not necessarily moving the line. The lines went down, but you haven't moved, anything in terms of going up. And kind of like you said, it's kind of hard to see if they're rebuilding or trying to test something out. I mean, but you still, got Kyler Murray rehabbing, so that's the thing. Maybe they're just looking at this season like throw it to the wind, and we'll figure it out once he's back. Build something actually around him that's catered to him, since we did sign him to that max extension, and he's gonna be here. But kind of like you just said too, it's not looking too good to be, Cardinals fan. The draft was one of the major cards we hold, and kind of like you said, it's losing its momentum in terms of teams trying to fill out where the Texans are going with their first round pick and how that's going to affect, so it's just really hard to see where they're going to be come even training camp at this point. Like, you really can't say, oh, the Cardinals are going to be here. It's just not there right now.
It will be interesting to see if they trade for future draft picks too. Because if they don't look at Will Anderson or Jalen Carter and say, well, what's he going to bring to us this season? I mean, maybe we go 4-13, So if they were able to get rid of Hopkins and if they traded their current third overall pick and got maybe a 2 or 3 first-round picks over the next 2 or 3 years, that's something they might be interested in, especially with Kyler Murray's contract up next season. They could then play it and see how Kyler Murray does after rehab. And if he doesn't do good, then okay, you might get yourself a quarterback in the next couple drafts. But I think right now they're in a situation where they don't exactly know where they need help because they need help everywhere. Mm-hmm. So it might be in their best interest just kind of throw in the towel for this season. Trade away your pick and build it from there. Because if you're going to go in a rebuild, you can't flirt around the edges of it. You got to just go in and rebuild the team.
And they need to get as many second round and third round picks as they can get, and get as many D line and O line as they can get. Maybe a few linebackers in there, and hope a couple of them turn into be studs in a year or two.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I think what makes it even more kind of tricky is it would be easier to see whether this is a rebuild or not if Kyler Murray wasn't hurt going into the season. I think with him tearing his ACL and him not being back particularly by halfway mark kind of throws a monkey wrench into plans of how you want to approach the season. Hence why you see the signings of like Jeff Driscoll and like the re-signings of all these backup quarterbacks, because you're trying to make that build that competition for the first few games of the season as to what you really want. I think that's probably another reason why the DeAndre Hopkins thing is on hold, because it's like, okay, well, Kyler Murray's timetable, we don't really know when it is yet, but we expect him to miss a little bit of time. Do we think we have enough to build something for D Hopkins to be a part of this future? But it's a tough, tricky situation, which is why I understand now why it probably took the Cardinals longer to get a head coach in there to begin with. But Jonathan Gannon's up for the challenge, so we just got to see how it goes. But
losing like even Buda, I mean, not trying to harp on him, but that was like, I mean, if there was a soul of that team, I would say he probably was like the soul as far as like if they had an animal spirit, that's who they needed to be. Was everybody needed to be a Buddha. I mean, even if you were O-line, D-line, wide out quarterbacks, everybody should have had that mentality. So to lose that, it's like, where do you even go from here? And then not to have Murray on the field at the same time, it's like Are you really, if I'm the front office sitting back saying we're actually going to try to, heck, even make it into a wild card at this point? I mean, just because the talent and the intensity is probably not going to be there. But like you said, it is a little time left. Maybe they know something we don't. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of being behind the closed doors is you know what you're about to do. So maybe.
Yeah, no, you guys are all saying pushing the right buttons here, but yes, Brandon's just joined us. What's going on, Brandon? We were just talking about to start off the show, just Cardinals stuff, and just about like what you think might happen next week at the draft of who they're going to take or if they're going to trade down, and just the overall consensus of the Cardinals this offseason and where they are right now as an organization. But yeah, what are your thoughts like on next week's draft and who you think they should take?
I don't know. I think they should definitely trade down, and I think they will because I think Houston's guy is Bryce Young, and it sounds like he's going to go number one, and he's not going to fall to them at 2. So I think they should definitely trade down because if they don't, I think they get Will Anderson, and that's the only guy I'd stay up for is Will Anderson. If not, just trade down, get the best whatever you can get. Just they need everything. I just heard you guys saying. So, I mean, the more picks are better at this point. So they don't need a quarterback, and this draft is quarterback heavy.
They might.
Yeah. You never know. They might go that route potentially next offseason, but as of right now, they're probably going to stay pat in what they got until he gets back healthy and they see what they have moving forward. But I mean, we can pretty much fast forward to stuff not as depressing, and we can go to like the Suns content here. We're getting ready for
Game 3, baby.
Game 3 is tonight. I'm not gonna lie. I put in my preview before Kawhi Leonard got hurt that the Clippers were potentially going to win tonight and get Game 3, and that Kawhi was going to drop Game 4. I mean, they're not drop, but drop 40 tonight, 40 plus. That is not happening anymore as he is out with the right knee sprain. Apparently injured in Game 1 and played on in Game 2, which amazes me how he's still able to average 30 with double teams thrown right at him left and right. Dude's a beast. But yeah, we can go with the Kawhi Leonard fan club here. Rowan Donahue, my guy. What's your thoughts on the Kawhi Leonard?
Man,
are you sick to your stomach, man?
I'm gonna tell it to you 2 ways, man. It's heartbreaking as a fan of basketball just to watch good competitive basketball. It takes away from the game no matter who you're rooting for. I was rooting for the Clippers in this series. However, now that everything is on the table, I've moved my money over to the Suns side of things. Took a huge little drop on the Suns tonight. Took a few player props too, just because Kawhi's not going to be there. George ain't going to be there. Give me Book and Durant going crazy tonight. I think the Suns take control of this series tonight. I think they put it to bed, win by 20, 30 points. I think it's going to be one of them ugly games. This is the type of game that Chris was talking about a week and a half ago when I was trying to tell him that Kawhi Leonard was Michael Jordan. He warned me that he wasn't worried about what's going to happen no matter what happened in Game 1, and he called it, man. So it's crazy to see how things play out. It's sad to see any player get hurt for any team, especially in the playoffs this time of year, especially for it to be a guy like Kawhi, who just as fans of the NBA, seen him go through many injuries, missed many time. Boy got them grandpa knees now. I think it's time for him to officially do something about something because, man, seeing him trying to fight back since about 2017 to really get right is sad in all kind of ways. He was one of my favorite players. But at the end of the day, it's what happened. Can't take nothing away from it. The Suns are a great team. They deserve to win this series with or without Kawhi on the other side. I think they're going to go ahead and take it, move on to the next round. I think tonight's just going to be like coming out party for Book and Durant together. Be some nice highlights for the Twitter feed.
Yeah, I mean, to your credit, though, Rowan, this series I wouldn't say is particularly over yet because Kawhi is day-to-day. The way I kind of see it is Ty Lue's kind of resting him for Game 3 and going to play him in Game 4 because I feel like the Clippers are looking at this of like we did exactly what we needed to do. We stole a game in Phoenix. We proved we can win on the road and compete on the road. So if we can just split, if we can just find a way to split at home and go back tied at and go back tied going into game 5 at 2-2 and bring the same intensity that we did in game 1, anything's possible. But I think Ty Lue's kind of playing a little, I wouldn't say chess, but like he's keeping it. He likes where they're at.
It is a long
some
series.
load management playoffs.
Yeah,
But
like
I
it's a little like load management type playoff type vibe again on this.
Load management in the playoffs.
Kawhi's-
Man. I mean, get out of here.
I feel like Kawhi's playing game 4. Like there's no way he is setting out 2 games in a row. That's just my opinion though. But we
Hey
can
man, I do still have money on the Clippers to win the whole series that I put in before the series. I just got the Suns tonight for sure. I don't know though, man. You can't just give up a game to a team like the Suns. Let them get momentum, especially if somebody like Durant, who's really the only one who has championship success. So he knows. Let's finish out this game around 1, man. Stop playing with them. We don't want to go 7 games with this team, especially if Kawhi comes back.
No, you definitely don't want to go 7 games with the Kawhi Leonard type team.
That boy is a monster in game 1 and
Yeah.
game 2. But yeah, I mean, he really single-handedly just destroyed. I mean, KD still had 27, 11, and 9, but it didn't look like it. It looked like Kawhi was in control of that game 1 for sure.
Yeah. Chris, bro, my other Suns guy. What's your thoughts on the Kawhi Leonard news? What's your thoughts on the Suns? You're like the Mr. I'm not too worried, as you famously said last week. You're definitely not worried now, I'm guessing.
That boy dancing.
So here's the thing, and it came to me this morning, and I hate it for Suns fans, but it's the truth. All right, whatever. There is literally nothing to be excited about. Literally, there's nothing to be excited about. And everybody's probably putting on their Durant jerseys and their Booker jerseys, and they're jumping up and down, and Suns in 6, and then we'll see whoever in the next round. It's nothing to be excited about. If you win, you're literally going to live with the rest of the season and into next season of how you probably wouldn't have gotten out the first round after trading Bridges, after trading Johnson for Durant, and literally probably losing with a healthy Kawhi, and probably definitely losing with a healthy Paul George and Kawhi. There's nothing to celebrate. There is literally nothing to celebrate. Now, yes, like I said in square one, not worried. Shouldn't be at least, but anything can happen. But there's literally nothing to celebrate about it. Like it's almost and it's nothing to the Suns' discredit. They didn't make Kawhi hurt, or make Paul George hurt, but there's nothing that you're gonna get out of that. Literally, the only thing we will probably see from fans going into next season from other teams, even the Mavericks, is you wouldn't have got out the first round with a healthy Paul George and a healthy Kawhi, and you traded all of your players for this one guy. It's coming. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. I mean, will we beat them? Yeah. Will it probably be in just 6 games, just like y'all were saying? Maybe they're low managing Kawhi. Yeah. But real test will come in the second round. That's kind of how I look at that. There's nothing, which it shouldn't be too much to rejoice about anyway. It's 16 wins to get to where you need to get to. So,
to your point, you make a trade for Durant. The first round should never be in question.
And it is. I'm not gonna lie to you. A tiny speck of a fiber optic nerve inside of me still feels like they can win tonight. And I mean a very tiny piece of me. And it's just because they find a way to have the Suns' number. They just do. I mean, we said that already. Kawhi was being Kawhi, but Westbrook is still out there. Anything can happen. If we go back to not cleaning the boards offensively, not figuring out rotations, we're going to be right back in the same boat. Like, literally, we'll be right back where we were, Kawhi or no Kawhi. And then if he does come back, it's just going to get dark again.
I don't think Russ or Eric Gordon could carry the load offensively needed to take down Durant Booker.
Yeah. No. Yeah, my thing is I kind of go back to it is like I say again, I think the Clippers are looking at this of like, we did what we needed to do. They split a game. in Phoenix to tie the series up. Now they go into Game 3 with Kawhi being out. And the way they're looking at this is like, hey, we're playing with house money. He's going to preach that to his guys. Like, hey, we're playing with house money. And the way I look at that is if they steal a game here without Paul George and without Kawhi Leonard, one, that tells me that Kawhi is probably going to sit in Game 4 because they don't need to play him with them already up 2-1 and at least at the very worst being down 2-2. Or they lose tonight and he comes back in Game 4 and you're kind of confident with the chance that you have with Kawhi with the way things have gone so far that you can at least get one at home. So if I'm the Suns, you gotta take advantage of tonight. You cannot. I remember Jacob kind of putting this in the messages. There's no excuse. There is no excuse tonight. They gotta win.
Jacob has been so critical on their defense, but he's right.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. But yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Oh no, yeah, that's basically what I was saying. I was gonna throw you the lob right there because you're absolutely correct. There's no excuses for tonight, Jacob.
Yeah, after watching those first two games, I was like, I get you got that second one, but that was not how you wanted those first two games to go. Even if you won both, that's not how you wanted them to go because you were forcing Devin Booker and Kevin Durant to play almost the entire game, and you were barely scratching and crawling out a win against a team that's without their second best player. Mm-hmm. And the bench, I was looking at the plus and minus after that first game, the bench has been horrible both games. And you put the bench out there, and then all of a sudden everything goes downhill. And not worried about any of their starters. Torrey Craig's been playing great, but they have absolutely zero depth. And I know that's been being said all season, but now when you're actually playing a team that is going to compete with you night in, night out. I mean, their schedule was lacking towards the end of the year. They were playing a lot of backups. Now they're not playing those backups. Their bench is really getting exposed for how thin it is.
Yeah, and then on top of that, say if you do keep winning, say you do keep moving on, these minutes are just going to add up for guys like KD and Chris Paul and Devin Booker, and they're going to get tired as they get to play more deep teams. And that's gonna be where the challenge is. So hopefully,
one injury away too. I mean, even if it's just a 2 to 3 day injury, that could eliminate the Suns right there. Because if Booker or Durant aren't playing, I don't see this team beating anybody.
Me neither.
That's what we were talking about the other night, though. Like I think the first half of Game 2, they had 5 points from the bench. I think Biz and Okogie. Yeah.
From game 1?
I think it was Game 1 or Game 2.
Game 1 they only had 10 bench points.
Yeah. In Game 2, I want to say I think that might have been Game 1. Yeah, it was like 5 points, and then it ended up doubling to 10 at the end of the game. And I'm like I said, say what you want to about this series. It's pretty much over and done. Stick a fork in it. But you pull 10 points next round, and I promise you, it's gonna take Denver? It's gonna take a 50 piece. It's gonna take a 50 piece from Durant.
It took Torrey Craig 5 threes.
Exactly.
I mean you're not going to get 5 without those 5 threes from Torrey Craig. Suns probably don't win that game, and you cannot rely on Torrey Craig to get you 5 threes every night.
Yeah, 5 threes. He was 5 of 8. I mean, at that point, you're shooting like a pre-borderline Steph Curry clip. Like that's not gonna happen every game.
This is the best offensively Torrey Craig has been too, and we're still and this is with KD and Booker, and we're still barely finding ways to be in all these.
I think it's this veteran IQ, honestly, just because he's been, around so long. He's been in those situations, a good little couple of times. So I think he knows when to turn it on at the right time. But like Jacob just said, you cannot. He's probably hoping they don't depend on him for 5 threes. He'd probably like to hit them, but if you're banking on that and you don't got Terrence Ross contributing, you don't have T.J. Warren, Campaign is still waiting to come back. Like you cannot rely on that portion from the bench. Maybe a Kobe gets it going because he's kind of been doing okay-ish, but I think coming back to the bench probably hurt him a little bit as far as his groove. And I know Monty still stacks, like I said, starters and reserves, but he's got to figure out his rotations too. I mean, he got humbled. I mean, Ty Lue is out coaching him, so
Oh yeah,
he's got to figure that out.
yeah.
It
just
reminds
crazy
me of the.
Go ahead.
It reminds me of the Pelican series from last year, where everybody expected the Suns to just cruise through that first round, and they didn't. And they got out of the series, but it was an extremely close fight between the 8-seeded Pelicans. This is kind of what that reminds me of, and it's going to take and then you saw it absolutely unravel against the Mavs in the next round because they used up everything in that first round. I think they're using up a little too much for how extended the NBA playoffs. I mean, you're playing 21 games.
Yeah, the minutes will definitely add up.
Used so quick.
Yeah,
I mean, even if you go through a battle with the Clippers right now, I mean, it's not going to be beneficial. I mean, the Nuggets are up 2 now, so not a big difference. But I mean, heck, if they sweep them, like we always said, that's extended time. They get to rest. They get to wait. You're literally going to be duking it out more than likely to at least a game 6 with no Kawhi, no Paul George team, depending on if Kawhi comes back. And then you're running into, like Jacob said, next round, you got KD who gets injury prone. Chris Paul's a little older. Now you're starting to put a lot of wear and tear on guys, and you need everything you can get against Denver. I mean, there's no two ways about that.
Yeah. I wanted to also get Brandon in on this too, but Brandon, what are your thoughts on Kawhi Leonard news and with Game 3 and moving forward for the Suns?
Yeah, I don't think they should take this game lightly at all. That's one thing. Like, they can't just overlook this game because they overlooked the Clippers already. It's pretty obvious that they've already overlooked them. I mean, they can't come in. They can't come in with that same mentality that they came in Game 1. It's just not gonna be good for them once again. But question for you guys is: do you think that? I think that they should start Okogie this game because I think Russell Westbrook and Eric Gordon are now the Clippers' biggest offensive threats. I think he'd be a better matchup for them. I don't know what are your guys' thoughts on and Campaign's out again too. I just said that.
Yeah, campaign injury kills us, man. We don't have any depth. Okogie's definitely. I mean, he started the last 16 to 25 games with the starting unit. I don't know if I don't know. I think Monty Williams is outthinking himself at this point when it comes to rotations and who to start. I definitely think he should just stick it out with Okogie. Ish Wainwright, even, I think, should get a few more minutes. He was hitting solid shots down the stretch of the season. He hadn't got much minutes to even prove himself to get in rhythm or hit some shots.
Yeah. To answer your question, I've wanted Okogie to start since Game 1. I did not want that to be a change.
That's what I see it.
The way I see it, I understand why you have to play Shamet off the bench. He's playing the Cameron Payne role. I think Shamet doesn't really get minutes at all if Cameron Payne's healthy per se. But I think having Shamet in that role does something, not a whole lot of anything, but does something. But I remember talking with you guys during Twitter Spaces of like it doesn't make sense to play Shamet with when Chris Paul and Booker on the floor together.
Mm-hmm.
That to me doesn't make sense. I think a lot of those minutes should go to Okogie or Craig or shoot even a, God forbid, Terrence Ross or TJ Warren. But, I've always thought like going into this series that it is based off matchup purposes. And with this type of matchup, especially, well, now Kawhi is out, but when you got a guy like Kawhi, in the way that this team is built, you typically want your best players out there at all times. So that's why they're playing heavy minutes. But I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of disappointed Terrence Ross hasn't been able to see the floor only because the only reason why you poached him away from Dallas, which was good for him because he was trying to go somewhere to be a solid sixth man for you off the bench. And I feel like he hasn't really been getting any minutes in these first 2 games. And I get it's matchup purposes, but like you just got to find a way to get something from him off the bench because he's streaky, but he can when he's hot, that can be another threat for you off the bench. And this is a team that desperately needs scoring off the bench. Like to give some of these guys rest. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of like where I'm at.
I think too. If Craig comes off, they need Booker and KD to get rest today. I think they only play if it's closer in the second half. But like in the first half, I think they need more rest in the first half, and I think that's why you bring Torrey Craig off the bench to come in for KD, and then have
That's a good point.
Because I mean, Okogie, they're not playing. The only forward, they're only big they're playing off the bench right now is Busy, really. So there's no one to replace KD right now. I think that's why you need Craig off the bench. Get them more rest today.
Yeah. The person that would kind of replace KD at times would have been TJ Warren, but he's not getting as much minutes right now. He got like a few last game. That was it.
Yeah, the 3 minutes that KD was out.
Yeah, 3 minutes that KD was out. But I don't know, Chris.
Money is drilling his rotations into like the ground. Like it's overused. Like you just said, you need some consistent scoring. That's what you brought in Terrence Ross from off the bench at least. You had one of the most consistent 3-point shooters the entire season in Damian Lee. I can't even tell you what the guy looks like anymore because he doesn't play. I mean, it's certain, and I'm not saying push him to the front of the rotation minutes. I'm not saying that. But when you just see that what you're doing isn't working, why are we going back to it? And my one fear is that Monty looks at it now and says, okay, PG and Kawhi are out. Now I really don't have to make any adjustments. I can keep just running the same schematics, same rotations, and it's got to work now because nobody is there to stop it. And once again, yeah, you may be right, but do that in series 2, and we'll see how long this thing lasts.
Yeah, real quick, and I even want to allude to something Brandon brought up which is key. This is a game that the Suns got to put out fast, and I think the key to that is because of a lot of the heavy minutes that these guys played in the first 2 games. If they can finish this within the first 3 quarters of the game, and you can rest Booker and Durant and Chris Paul and Naden for going into Game 4, that's a huge win for a team that's been playing for a starting league unit that's been playing heavy minutes. Will it happen? I have no idea, but I hope so.
Yeah, if they don't do a strong first quarter, because that's really what's been Achilles' heel for them is they don't start strong at all.
Nope.
If they can't start strong with no Paul George, no Kawhi, I'm going to be really disappointed. Because it's like,
we all will.
What more do you need to have a strong, which has kind of been a handicap of theirs the whole season. They've never started strong. They try to pick it up late in the second, quarter going into the second half. If you can't start strong against this team that's best player out there right now is Russell Westbrook, which, Westbrook is Westbrook, but still, what does that say about a team that made this gigantic move to be favorites for the finals? That doesn't say a lot.
One of the things they do well, though, is they play tremendous third quarters, man. They come out in the second half. Even in Game 1, they took the lead once or twice in the third quarter before giving it right back. But, man, I love the way they come out in the second half. I wish they could just take that same energy to the first quarter, to your point, because, man, they play amazing third quarters, and that's usually what's been giving them that little lead for the cruise into the fourth quarter. And, yeah, I definitely think Booker and especially Durant and Chris Paul need to get some rest. Books, he'll probably be all right. He played 40 minutes, but Durant, that boy gonna be looking for a cane after Game 6.
Yeah.
No, man, and I can even allude to. It's kind of ironic because again, this later in the later portion of the season before the playoffs, the Suns struggled within the third quarter getting any type of rhythm going, and they started off strong in almost all those games. Now it's kind of like the tables have kind of flipped. Which I guess
like Booker dropped 18 in the third quarter. I mean,
he carried them, bro.
Yeah,
he
carried
them.
But it's like, do you really want to have to keep digging yourself out? That 18 points should have been like, I'm going to add a little more onto what we're doing. But it's like, we needed that. Or otherwise, maybe we're not tied 1-1. We may be down 2-0.
I think whether they play the whole game or not, they both got to drop 30 tonight. Even if they do it in 3
not,
quarters.
that's what I was thinking. If not, it has to be where either of them go nuclear and drop, 40, 45 piece, and then Durant has another like high assist game, or Booker does, and he has like a 20 piece. But yeah, there has to be somebody that steps up and says, no, like not having none of that.
Man, because I'm telling you, like, if they could come in the game, and I know there's no Kawhi, there's no Paul George, but all the other players are playing. If the Suns can come out and give them straight fear, like y'all can't touch us. Even when Kawhi and them come back, them players still gonna be remembering that. Damn, this is the Kevin Durant that just gave me a 40.
Yeah,
this is the book that just gave me 38. When we didn't have Kawhi to save us, like these boys gave us the business, and I think that'll move forward hugely. Game 5, 6, even game 4, game 7, however long the series goes. I think tonight is a big no, without Kawhi, y'all don't stand a chance. It's a statement game.
It's definitely a statement game, and they definitely got to take care of business for sure going into this game. But yep, I'm fully expecting them to handle business tonight. I'm expecting them to continue to do. They did make little adjustments from game 1 to go into game 2, as they have Devin Booker bringing up the ball a little more and letting Chris Paul kind of play more off ball, which kind of builds up more tempo. That's another reason why I low-key miss Cameron Payne, because Cameron Payne brings tempo and run and gun type style of offense that gets the energy is really, really key, especially in the playoffs. So he's desperately missed, but he'll be back soon. It seems like he's kind of getting closer to coming back, because it's a good thing that he's been questionable last couple of games, but we shall see. But yeah, I know before we get going, I wanted to kind of piggy off of Diamondbacks news real quick. Diamondbacks are first in the NL West still, which is great. But they did have news came out earlier today as Madison Bumgarner, who had a really, really, really tough outing yesterday against the Cardinals when they lost 14-5. He got designated off the team today, which been his years with to put it bluntly, his Diamondbacks era has not been great. After coming from the Giants and having a great career over there and winning 3 championships, having one of the most legendary postseason runs of all time in 2014, he has a career ERA with the Diamondbacks of 5, and his ERA this season after yesterday's game is at 10. So, unfortunately, Torey Lovullo and the GM they had to make drastic changes going in with this news. Unfortunately, they still got to pay a lot of his money because of this for the remainder of the season. But I don't know. I can go with you, Rowan. I know you're probably happy about this news because you had a lot to say about this yesterday as you were disgusted. But what are your thoughts on this?
I will say I'm not necessarily happy about the news. I'm heartbroken to see a legend, 3-time World Series champion, turn into the shell of himself right in front of our very eyes. I think the Diamondbacks, they did what they had to do. They got some young pitchers coming up. They really don't need Madison. It's great to have veteran guys around. I think they could have found a spot for him in the bullpen, maybe a 6th or 7th inning guy, come up and get 3 guys out, do his job, and still be a part of a rotation that can teach these young guys some things. However, they might have had that discussion, and you know how ball players is, man. He's a starting pitcher. He's going to go out a starting pitcher no matter how bad it gets. That seems to be the attitude Madison Bumgarner brings. Absolute stud on the mound. It is heartbreaking, though, to see him over the last 3 years and 69 starts in the Diamondbacks jersey, 15-32 record. As you said, his ERA over 5. It was never like he even got his groove here once where we felt like, okay, this is why we signed this dude for this much money. Yeah. When they picked him up, I was kind of like, he's a little old to be bringing him in as a star pickup in the offseason. And it just never worked out. He never found his rhythm. I thought at some point, maybe even last year towards the end of the season, if they had a little wild card run going, he might step up and be the old him. But I never found it. Before the trade deadline last season, they were looking for suitors and couldn't find anybody that wanted to pick him up on the contract that he was on. So this probably is how it was going to end up and how everybody knew it was going to end up. I'm actually surprised that it happened so quick. I actually wrote an article about an hour before he got DFA'd about Torey Lovulo and him trying to figure out what's going on and fixing it. So it kind of took me by surprise. And again, it's somebody that's watched baseball over the last decade and a half. Seeing Madison Bumgarner go out like this does not make me happy at all.
And I think Torey Lovulo said it best yesterday after the game, where he was like, basically like he was frustrated not because of just the loss and how he played, but he's also frustrated for him because he knows his work ethic. He knows how hard he wants it, or not hard, how bad he wants it, and just everything just for him to kind of just look the way he's looked over the past couple of years has just been tragic, to say the least, for Diamondbacks fans, especially with them coming up now. It would have been cool to see a Mad Bum playoff game. You know, I think he'd be amazing in the playoffs still. That's just my opinion.
That's the thing, man. As good as he is, and as good as the Diamondbacks are, this season alone, he's literally him alone is 37% of our losses you can put on his shoulders from his starts. So
yeah,
they get in the hole fast when he gets on the mound, and that's the sad part about it. Watching him give up 7-8 runs in 4 or 5 innings.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I don't know if any of you all have any other thoughts on the Madison Bumgarner news today. Any one of Chris or Brandon can talk about this.
No, I think it's just sad for the D-backs. See, I mean, they never pay guys money. One time they give a guy a bunch of money. I don't know. It's kind of sad to see that happen. Like Rowan was saying, I agree with everything Rowan says about. He's a World Series winning pitcher. He just fell off. Just doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, and I remember seeing like a stat or something where like his miles per hour pitch on the fastball has gone down to like 89 now, which goes to show you like with age and just nutrition and just everything, you know, it's just people are just drilling his fastballs all over the ballpark now. It's
that's the other thing, man. Tom, 92, 89 back in 2009, 2012 was elite stuff. Now you got kids throwing 99, 100 literally on a daily basis. That 89 is change-up speed these days, and I think Tom's caught up with him, and he don't have too many secondary pitches that he can lean on as primary. And yeah, breaking ball was getting tore up, fastball was getting tore up. He really had nowhere to go to hide or run besides walking hitters. And then once you get doing all that, that's when you really get those big innings put on you, because you walk a few, get a few hits up, and it just gets ugly fast.
Yeah, I think still good news though is Zach Gallen was Player of the Week. So
Player of the Week, baby. He said in an interview on MLB Central yesterday morning how much fun this group of guys is and how the locker room is just a blast. And he's just looking forward to getting the rust off from the off season, and he's still trying to get in the midseason form, get the right feeling out there on the mound, get the swing of things. But the fact that he said how fun this team is to play, you see it translate on the field with all these young bucks celebrating hits and stuff. And it's just nice to see a guy like Zach Gallen be able to enjoy the game. He's been a great pitcher for years, and this is a season that everybody on the D-backs can really, truly just enjoy as a player and go out there and get their best effort.
Yeah, and this is also the year he's going to get national attention, which makes me happy because I saw it last year too, where I was like, he's next up. You know?
Yeah, no, man. Diamondbacks, watch out, man. Next 7 to 9 years, they're going to be in the playoffs on a regular. They might even win 1 or 2.
That's good, man. That's good. But yeah, any last minute thoughts for anything Arizona sports? I know, Brandon, that anything from college we want to bring up real quick. That's kind of piqued your interest.
ASU basketball has brought in a lot of transfers the past couple of weeks. I don't know if you guys follow that at all. But
you've been writing a lot about that.
Yeah, so Hurley's every single year, it seems like since the new transfer portal rules, they've had to reload every single year, a whole new lineups and just a bunch of question marks. I mean, they still got guys their main recruiting guy, their point guard, he recruits players to the team. He's in the NBA draft right now, but I think he's going to come back. But
yeah,
it's just weird college basketball is completely different than I remember growing up. Because, this college guys stayed for 4 years and you know them, and now it's like they'll stay for 2 years in one team and go to another team, and I don't know. And then like the mid-major guys, if they have a good year, they'll transfer somewhere good, and then everyone knows them on that team. It's just holding a different thing now. But I think ASU's I think the pieces they added fit them perfectly. They lost their best scorer, or one of their best second leading scorer, on Monday to NC State, and then literally just a few hours later they picked up a starting guard from LSU that averaged double digits last season. Fills his
I
role
remember reading about
perfectly.
that.
So yeah, that's a great pickup for them. And then the forward spot, they don't have like a true center right now. He's in the NBA draft, their starting center. He might come back. That would be huge. If he came back, I think they would be a top Pac-12 team, honestly. But we'll see. We'll see what else Bobby Hurley does. But the pieces he's added four. I think all four guys he's added from the portal were double-digit scores last year. So it's a good addition for them.
Yeah, and I would love for ASU basketball to be just to make some type of run in March Madness, especially after seeing Hurley's brother win one this past year. Now that would be nice for him to bring one.
Yeah, that's big attention for the Hurley family right there.
Yeah,
Because I mean that's what I was saying. Like they show Bobby Hurley on TV every single time, and they talk about him like every single before they cut to commercial. Like he's shown at least once in the 5 minutes of game time that's playing.
yeah.
So
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
It's good for them.
Yeah. I'm excited though moving forward for like the future, just college basketball and football, like Kenny Dillingham too.
I love that. They got their football program's in a good place too. Like, they got a big local recruit for the 2024 class. When was that? Saturday, right before their spring game. So that was a big get for them because that's what Dillingham wants to do. He wants this to be a pipeline for Arizona high school talent.
Yeah,
they go elsewhere all the time. Like,
and they got a lot of recruits. They got really good recruits always coming out of Arizona. That's why it kind of sucks when they all leave.
Yeah.
So I understand that thought process for sure.
Yeah, and he has a bunch of former Arizona high school coaches on his staff now, so he really wants to attack that, and I think that's going to be big for them.
I think I think the interim head coach he had that he's still on the roster as well as a coach, and he had a similar thought process for that as well. So I guarantee you they're like been talking about that ad nauseum when he first got hired and on the same page there. So I like what they're doing in ASU. I think just give it time. I think they're going to be sitting well and within the next 3 years, I would say. Maybe faster than that, but definitely within 3 years.
It's all about who gets hot in February, baby.
Yep. And with the college football playoffs expanding, should be interesting.
But with the Pac-12, I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. Is USC and UCLA leave this year or that next year?
I think next season.
Next year.
Yeah.
Football. So this Pac-12 is. Who knows what's going to happen with ASU and U of A? They're going to move to another conference, or who knows?
I think they're going to move to the Big 12. Just a hunch.
Yeah, they could just They could all just go to the Big 12, and then the Big 12 basically going to have two different divisions in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's literally going to be like the same conference.
Yeah. Well, for Rowan and Chris, do you guys have any last-minute thoughts of what y'all might want to discuss before we head out?
Yeah, I got one thing to say. I'll let Chris go first, though.
Okay.
Clippers in 6, man. Forget it. Whatever.
Clippers in 6?
I'm out. Y'all have a good night. I'm out.
Clippers in 6? Wait.
I'm out. I'm tired of this. I'm out. Clippers in 6.
The Clippers in 6? We need to change your mind all of a sudden, bro.
That's the show, Franklin.
No, you gotta tell our one viewer why you switched up like right now. Like, what's going on here?
Man, I seen Chris' birthday pictures in a 3X Paul Pierce jersey, some Jinko jeans, and 2 NBA headbands. Talking about Clippers in 6.
Clippers in 6. I'm just joking, man. I mean, it's Suns in 6. It's the reality now that I got to live with, So, yeah, that's what I wanted. I wasn't ever worried, but this is not the way I wanted the series to go. I mean, I could have dealt with Paul George being out, Kawhi and Paul George being out. It just does not.
They ain't even played yet. You acting like they lost to him without Kawhi.
The games haven't even played yet, bro. When we know the Suns team can overlook opponents, bro. I am not.
I just don't want it to be where we get back in here and the headline for everybody, not like us, but for everybody's Suns crushed the Clippers in Game 3, and it's like they did what they were supposed to do. We're clapping for fish for swimming. Like that's what you're supposed to do. So it would, But yeah, I'm not putting any hex, any jinx, anything like that. But if we do lose, which I did say something about Game 1, we lose this game, I'm shutting it down.
Yeah.
I'm going wherever Benny is. I'm shutting it down. That's it.
All I'm saying is, Suns lose this series, we're gonna do that. Shannon Sharp said it. It's like 1, 2, 3, Cancun. Like
we are out of here, man. I'm telling you, that's gonna be an ugly off season.
It is, but we don't want to speak on that right now. Right now, they gotta get past Game 3 and
take care of
it. 2-1. But yeah, what did you want to say, Rome, before we head out?
Cam Johnson just shot an air ball going into the fourth quarter. Brooklyn Nets up 8-6. Cam Johnson.
Who do you have winning that?
Who do I have winning this? Sixers. Who do I have my money on winning this? Brooklyn. I took Brooklyn before this. I will say this: that boy Joel Embiid, you know how he do. That boy out. That boy hurt himself while we've been doing the podcast.
Oh, yeah. I know he hurt his back before we got in, and then he came back in the game. I don't know. I didn't know if he was.
He hit it again. He tried to block Cam Johnson and landed weird, and then he almost sat on Cam Johnson's head and then started crying real tears. I'm joking.
Like you said, though, like the Nets aren't bad, but we can't act like the Bridges-Johnson trade put them into playoff position. They were already in playoff position. All they had to do was hold their weight to get there. So,
they need to play Cam Thomas, bro. I don't know what the hell they do with Spencer Dinwiddie.
He's a scorer. He's just not efficient. He's not.
He got good minutes in the second quarter, but yeah, I kind of see why Jock Vaughn doesn't really play him that much. Like, he's a volume scorer, man. That doesn't play defense.
Like he's like the best player on the middle school team. Like nobody's nowhere near good until just
he is that one player that you have on your AAU team that is ball hogs.
Yeah,
and that just like
real out of every play.
I don't want to say ball hogs. I
watched every game Cam Johnson played in collegiate level, and this boy dropped 30, 40 a game, just shooting every shot, bro. Kobe Bryant just jacking that thing.
That's true. Kobe did do that as well. So there's that.
But he dropped 40 the whole week. They let him start.
That's true.
He did.
That's true.
And I think he got like really happy with that, and I think he thought he was going to make it normal. And then the Durant trade, and all of that. Then he kind of raced him back in, like.
Coach said we finna let Spencer Dinwiddie throw these 8 turnovers a game and watch you sit over there. Bro, that boy Spencer might be the worst alley-hoop passer I've ever seen at the point guard position.
I've always thought Spencer Dinwiddie should be the 6th man off the bench, personally. I think that would be a perfect role for him.
I think he did what he was supposed to do in Brooklyn, but after that, I think he was probably better off coming off the bench. Definitely in Dallas. I felt like if Dallas could have kept him when they got Kyrie, it would have been great because that's kind of where he needs to be. Kind of like he was last season, when you had Brunson and he kind of, but yeah, he's not the,
Hey, that boy Brunson finna bring my Knicks to the promised land, man.
They got a big game tomorrow. So we shall
Chris,
see.
don't Joe
about all that.
I know who your team is, bro. I ain't gonna put you on blast.
You know. I mean, hey, if you know Geno time, then you know Geno time. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. But yeah, I mean, the Knicks are doing good, man. I mean, they're doing good. I I think the bigger topic outside of the Suns, real quick, is the Kings and the Warriors. The controversy, the media controversy, people saying they took the love out of this series, and I agree because it's actually a good series. It's two good teams, but with the Draymond and Sabonis, incident, it's just like there's almost no love in that series anymore, and it's supposed to be. Like, y'all are taking the Kings upcoming, and it's like getting battered with all the Draymond and Sabonis stuff. So
I personally don't like it, man, because it's really been a really good series between those two teams. And one, the suspension being what it is kind of sucks, but the drama of it all kind of is ruining how great of a series, how great of a team Sacramento is becoming right for us. So
they won both games, but I will say it felt like the refs gave them a little high five at the end of both of them games.
That's what JJ Redick was saying on First Take today or yesterday.
It just felt like it to me
can
watching
be
it live.
A little bit of narrative. Yeah, I agree.
And I ain't mad at it, but damn, I had the Warriors, bro. I can't believe the Kings are even in that series, dog. I thought that'd be them young teams come up and then they get slapped back down.
And
I have the Warriors in 6 games, but that's not too great right now.
And you could say it fits the script, but it really doesn't. Like, if the whole NBA may be scripted, but it kind of doesn't, just because, I mean, none of this was predicted as far as, Draymond and all of that goes. So, it's just taking a lot of the fun out of it. I think people are overreacting to the Kings. The Kings are actually a good team, and they're, it's all this.
Everybody's been sleeping on them all year.
If Draymond isn't there, then of course the Warriors are going to lose. No, the Warriors definitely could still beat them, but they're probably not going to. The Kings are a good team. The Warriors have not been good for the better portion of the season, but playoffs coming, everybody forgets that. They're still that same team.
Also, they're a different beast at home.
I mean, it's going to probably get a little ugly tonight just because they are at home, even without Draymond. Curry probably going to go nuclear, but yeah, we'll see.
They got that 6 by their name for a reason.
Yeah.
Both fan bases, both crowds are crazy, man. They get loud.
Hey, I bet you there's going to be some purple in that thing tonight.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
you can't bring no cowbells, though. You can't bring no cowbells, though.
Why?
Like, because there's that video of, like, them ringing the cowbell in Bob Myers' ear. And I think
they banned them from bringing cowbells?
They banned them.
Yeah.
They banned them.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah. I remember when men was men. Now I'm joking.
But, yeah, that's how I look at it. Let me see. Right now, final predictions. Sixers in 5. I'm going to get a Nets maybe 1, but I feel like I'm stretching that 1. I'm not going to lie.
No, I say Sixers in 5.
Sixers in 5, Suns in 6, Kings in 6, and then if I even want to take it over a little bit further, I'm gonna give the Knicks. I'm gonna say Knicks in 6. Honestly,
that's my dog.
Team. Yeah, I mean Julius Randle. I don't think nobody saw that, like the evolution of him over time. So I don't think even with Jared Allen, he's just not. Yeah, you said Cavs in 7.
Cavs in 7.
I can respect that.
7 games.
I do think the Timberwolves will probably get a game out of the Nuggets the way they play. They almost got it last night. I'm just saying.
They did figure out a different rotation in the third quarter, so they can utilize that to their full advantage before the Nuggets start making adjustments.
And then
final one
for me, Celtics in 4. That's just what it is.
You're not giving Trey at least one in the ATL?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Celtics
gonna lock them boys up. That guy doesn't stand a chance. Yeah, Trey fellow, he's cooked.
Celtics. I knew he was gonna do it.
You know what happens when you get Marcus Smart on you, and then a switch happens, and you get Brogdon on you, and then another switch happens, and you get Derek White on you? Listen,
there's a whole lot of forehead.
Yeah, he's cooked. You know what though? And then I forgot the last 2. I don't know. I'm gonna throw that one to y'all. Actually, I'm gonna throw these last 2 actually to y'all because I really can't say. Bucks and Heat series and Grizz and Lakers.
Well, I got the
Grizz in 6.
You got Bucks in 5.
Bucks in 5, Grizz in 6.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
I could
I'd
see
say
the Grizz one.
I'd say Bucks in 6, and I would say Grizzlies in 6 as well. Which crazy to me. This is my hot take. The Grizzlies, for whatever reason, play a lot better when Jaw's not on the court. I don't
I saw
understand
somebody
it.
say that.
I understand it.
The record shows.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I guess because of the ball
that.
movement, or I guess because of the ball movement. But like, yeah, they look scary. Because there's like even last year when Steph got, I mean, not when Jaw got hurt, Grizzlies were in a couple of those games and they blew them out by 51 of them. So I was like,
people are saying they look better without Ja, and I think it's his usage. And when you don't have that usage there, and there's more ball movement, they just look more crisp. So. Yeah, I think they'll do away with the Lakers. I really don't know how to feel about that Bucks Heat series, though. I just don't know. I cannot say at that point.
It'd be easier if Giannis was healthy, I think.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that he can do anything without Hero.
I agree. Tyler Hero's out too. That's true.
Yeah, it's so hard to say because I mean, one night it's like, oh, they're saying the Bucks in 5, and then the Heat put a beating on them. Now they're back up in 6. So I don't know. But yeah, definitely agree. Grizzlies, Lakers in 6, Memphis way. But yeah.
All right. But yeah,
Joel just got dunked on again.
Dang.
Claxton dunked on him.
Claxton is underrated.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, I will tell you that, Rowan, while I got you. The only thing I don't like about your Knicks is Mitchell Robinson. 1, he's not good for props. But 2, he wanted to make a tweet and delete it saying he was the best center in New York, and it was a direct shot at Claxton. I failed to see where his mind was when he typed that and hit post. But it had to be somewhere because he came back and deleted it. But
man, I'm gonna tell you where it was, bro. I'm gonna give you a little insight on my man Mitchell Robinson, man. That boy is an avid vitamin taker. First of all. Second of all, I'm gonna tell you something about these New York Knicks. They ain't doing nothing, bro. That's my favorite team. Them boys finna lose it. Julius Randle ain't got no right hand. Jalen Brunson, he's a liability on the defensive side.
Yeah.
As much as I love to say it, these Knicks ain't got nothing but a half-court prayer. RJ Barrett, anybody from Duke that's in the NBA besides Jason Tatum, big trash. I'll just say that.
Kentucky boys are different, though.
Them who?
Kentucky boys are different.
Hey, them Kentucky boys is different, man. They got a little, they got a little more quit to them. I'll set it up to you like that. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Kentucky boys is nice, bro. I love a lot of Kentucky players in the league. They got a few bad apples, but as far as Duke goes, it's only one good apple I've ever seen come out of that, and that's Jason Tatum.
In recent memory, yeah, there haven't been not like it used, because Duke used to be Duke for that. Like you were getting all the big times, but not lately.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I'll see you guys. Are you doing spaces after the game?
Yes, we'll be doing Twitter spaces after the game. So,
all right, I'll hop in there. I'll hop in there. All right, see you guys.
See you, Brandon. But yeah, game's about to start in an hour. So yeah, we definitely
gotta bounce.
Yeah. So, but that'll do it on another great episode of the Burn City Sports Podcast. Tune in later tonight on Twitter Spaces. We'll be having people on talk about the game afterwards, win or lose. But that'll be after Game 3. Until then, I'm your host Franklin Miller, joined by Rowan Donaghy and Christopher Denson, and we also had Brandon and Jacob Harden on earlier. But signing off.
Russell.